Hey traders, welcome back to another Sunday video where we take a look at trading setups for the week ahead. And in this video, I'm going to start by just showing you guys where I am at currently with my personal brokerage statements this year so far. So on the screen, what you can see here is this is my Webull portfolio where I'm tracking my P&L and my personal performance over the year. This is a US broker. It is listed down below in the description. Unfortunately, for non-US people, I think it is only for US traders, but I use it to trade indices, gold, things like that through ETFs. Anyways, this is my personal performance this year so far, and it's been overall a very, very good year. Of course, there it is, month by month, right? So this month, currently September, we are fighting for green. It is about break even so far on the account this month. Last month was tough. The month before was incredible, pretty good. Slightly better than break even, really good, down 1 month, and really good to start the year. So that's where I'm at personally. I like to show that, guys, just for transparency. There's a lot of people on YouTube who won't show you these sorts of things. They won't show you their accounts because, a lot of times people have big things to say, but they can't back it up. I personally am a believer that trading is a great way to make money over time, but it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. And again, I show my performance because it is personal preference, and I think it's the right thing to do. Anyways, with that said, let's jump into some trading setups for this week. You may be asking, again, real quick to pull up that calendar again, what happened here? We were green, and you would be right. Last few weeks before this, I was in the green. Well, a couple things happened, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of that. The first thing that happened that was not so good for me was my gold shorts did not play out. Now, again, not everything is going to work all the time, obviously. In trading, it is a certain guarantee that they're going to have hard times. Well, I was looking to short this thing down in this area here. I figured we could see continuation. I loved the way price action had been holding up prior to that. And, with hindsight, it is easy to clearly see, oh, well, obviously there was a buy here. But, I was sitting here and I'm thinking, okay, this is a nice downward trend. I'm looking for sells. Just didn't quite happen, and I took 3 different total losses. Really, it was like 2 losses, but there was one trade where I added, so it was a slightly bigger trade that I added when it started moving the right direction, and unfortunately, did not work out the way I was hoping for. Anyways, let's just be very, very clear. Price broke back, completely negating what I was thinking would be going on in the markets. So there it is. I was wrong. And the thing on YouTube is that people like to kind of cower away from their losses, and I understand why. It's very hard to talk about losses. Traders on YouTube are pretty ruthless when you take losses. They are unforgiving in the comments, with the whole, oh, you should have done this, and it was obvious that you should have done this. I've been doing this for years. I trade my strategy that has not changed in quite a while, and I'm comfortable with, the losses that I'm going to take. It's inevitable. However, it's also important to understand that, when you get this breakout and gold starts moving the other way, to admit that a change in the market has occurred. So for me personally, I'm looking for pullbacks this week, slightly bullish on the technical side. On the fundamental side, not so much. I'm kind of mixed. So I don't think I'll actually be trading gold, but I wanted to give, for those of you guys who are gold traders, an idea of where I'm at. This does look, from a price action standpoint, pretty bullish now. So pullbacks could be areas where buyers may be looking to kind of continue this push. But for me, I'll probably stay on the sidelines when it comes to gold. Now, I want to talk a little about the COT data. If you guys don't already have the EDGEFINDER, you can track the COT report every single week with our data reporting software here. And what this does is, if you haven't heard of the COT reports, it's an excellent way to essentially watch what hedge funds and banks and large speculators in the market, what they're buying and what they're selling. And what we can see here is that the data is laid out real easily for us to understand. The overall, the most bought things seem to be gold, the euro, oil is a big one, which we could talk about, and the pound. You flip it around, the things that they're selling the most: the South African rand, the Japanese yen, the Australian dollar, and it seems like they are shorting the yields, kind of bullish on bonds. So kind of interesting there. Now, what do we do with that? Well, we can also take a look at what they did in the most recent filing. So this shows us their net positions up here, and down here this shows us the recent change week to week. So what we can see here is that there was actually kind of an interesting kind of change in the wind here with the with the SPX, the S&P 500. The S&P 500 saw a big increase in longs and an increase in shorts. So what does that do for us? Well, it's a little bit interesting. It's a little bit mixed, but overall, we saw a pretty big sizable increase on the net long side. On the flip side, we can take a look at this column and say platinum, Swiss franc, CAD, silver. These things experienced a pretty big decrease in interest. By the way, for EDGEFINDER users, check out this new column when you get a chance. This was done by Frank, who's my trading partner and also one of the 3 developers here that work on the EDGEFINDER. He added this column, and I absolutely love it. It's a great way to just get a general idea of the latest change on the COT data. So we can see Swiss franc saw a big short interest this past week on a net by net basis, very bearish. Same thing with silver, same thing with gold, guys. This is really interesting. Gold saw a slip to the downside. So we can break that down into its components, and we can see that in the change of longs, we saw a slight decrease in longs, but notably a very big increase in shorts, guys. This is a pretty big deal for gold traders. So yes, gold is overall bullish, but there was a big increase in short interest in the past week. That is huge information to know, and part of the reason why I'm going to be cautious trying to go long on this when I know that they pretty much seem to have picked up a short position amidst this big run up. So that's my take on gold. By the way, guys, I'll take a quick second to remind you of 2 things. The first thing is that if you guys want a copy of the EDGEFINDER, there is a link and a subscriber discount code down below in the description of this video. If you want a copy of our tool to use for yourself, it is a paid tool. It's something that we've invested a lot of money and time into building. But if it's something you'd like to purchase for yourself, the link will be down below in the description, and subscribers get a discount using that promo code, and it's a pretty sizable discount. So check it out there. The second thing I will say also, guys, is that we do have a free Telegram channel that will also be linked in the description down below. If you have not already joined the Telegram, we've been really kicking it up in terms of trading ideas and things that we're putting out on our Telegram channel. I say ours because Frank and I run it. We also have some team people who help to manage it and coordinate it and keep it fun and stuff. But if you haven't joined the Telegram, it's totally free game. So if you're not already in there, click that link and join us there. Anyways, guys, big thing here in terms of top setups. The top setups is basically the output of the EDGEFINDER. It scores a bunch of different metrics: interest rates, unemployment, inflation, GDP, the trend, seasonal data, retail sentiment, and of course, what we just looked at, the commitment of traders data. So overall, where are we at? Well, things are very bullish looking for dollar yen, and they have been and continue to be very bearish for things like pound dollar and euro dollar. So let's go look at some of those dollar crosses for just a moment, starting with euro USD. So the euro, in terms of a 4-hour chart, has been doing some interesting stuff recently. It's been pretty bearish. We've seen price continue to reject, continue to push lower, and in my personal opinion, there's more room to the downside. Now, is that a certain guarantee just because I have a bias here that is going to continue lower? No. A lot of new traders watch my videos, and a lot of people stumble across, what we do here, and they're interested in trading, and they've seen people who, are clearly making money doing this, and they're wondering, how can I get involved? If that's you, then first of all, welcome, and I wish you well in your very difficult and long journey of trading. It is incredibly, incredibly difficult. If you're passionate about it, it is also a way to potentially make money, but it is not easy to do. My point with saying that is that, when I talk about a setup here, this is not a guarantee. This is not a certainty, and I am not a wizard, right? Trading is all about probabilities. I take into factors lots of different things, and I make educated guesses. That is really what I get paid to do as a trader. So, I can draw this fib, and I like this idea. So a pullback here is what I'm waiting for, right? Big push to the downside. In fact, what really caused this was, the ECB being really, wobbly with its statements this past week, and the dollar showing really strong economic figures. Fundamentally, this looks like a short, right? Fundamentally, we had the ECB, which basically came out worried about, the economy in Europe, and, obviously the Ukraine war continuing to put pressure on places like Germany, which is the powerhouse economy of Europe. You have all these different things going on. The ECB showing some signs of weakness, whereas in the US, we have economic data that's come out real strong, right? Inflationary numbers are still high. It's possible that the Fed may stay stronger for longer. And with that, what that means is that, of course, interest rates may stay elevated. Interest rates, if you're new to currency trading, are the key to currency movements. So at least one of the major ones. So the dollar is likely, in my opinion, to stay strong against the euro. So if we get this pullback from a fundamental and a technical perspective, I think that there may be some value to look for shorting opportunities. Not only do I think that, but the software that we've built has been pre-programmed to find the things that we talk about here. If you're somebody who really likes, the videos that I put out and the analysis that I do, the cool thing about the EDGEFINDER is it is essentially automating my own analysis on the fundamental side for the most part. It's pulling in tons of data. Frank and I have basically curated this algorithm to pull in data and then score it appropriately to give us a general bias that, again, I like based on the fundamentals, and then I use the technical side of my trading to find opportunities long or short. So anyways, with that said, again, I like the euro on the short side. I think there could be some opportunities as we pull back into this area. If I do take this trade, of course, I'll keep you guys on YouTube notified, as well as inside of our Discord VIP group. I'll keep an eye on the euro, but if price gets up into this area, this is where I'm probably most interested, and I'd probably stop out above that 61.8% retracement. So that's how I'm looking at the euro. Let's also talk about the pound here. So pound is interesting here because the pound has already kind of made a substantial move past the lows. So the question is there a sell in this area? Well, for me down here, I probably can't really justify getting short, but I'm also bearish on the pound, and I'd be interested if we got some sort of pullback off of the 4-hour chart. So if I'm looking at this, right, we broke this key level support. We didn't quite come back to it on this retest. So if price does make its way up here next week, it's possible that I could watch this for a possible short opportunity. But I'll be very transparent. I think I like euro better than pound right now, just based on the setup that we just discussed with the euro. I like that a little bit better personally. So we'll keep moving. Dollar yen, we mentioned that the EDGEFINDER has a bullish reading on this currency pair. A +7 is a pretty strong reading. And we're at a level of resistance that is really important. Now, 147.83 has been knocked down a couple different times, especially with this weekend gap lower that happened and actually took a while to fill back through that gap. Now, where we currently trade, we've made a move all the way back to fill that gap, but now we've slightly traded just above and actually closed last week above this level of resistance. So what does all that mean? Well, we're at and above a key level of resistance. That tells us that sellers don't seem quite strong enough to just punch this thing right back down just yet. Now, have we totally cleared this area? Not really. And what I mean by that is, yes, we've, very, very briefly and slightly closed above the previous high. But for me, in terms of momentum, what I'd love to see would be, show me that real strength. Show me enough strength to get us clean through the highs. And if that happens, then what I do is I start setting up for a possible pullback buy. So I have the EDGEFINDER's confirmation, right? And I have the technical analysis side. By the way, EDGEFINDER does, the fundamental side. For those of you guys who are real channel fans, I like fundamentals, sentiment, and technicals. The EDGEFINDER substitutes the first two, and then I can do my technical analysis with confirmation from the EDGEFINDER. Anyways, that's what I'm looking for on dollar yen. Breakouts, retests, continuation plays. We'll keep an eye on that one. Again, I really like dollar yen to the long side. US oil. Let's talk about oil. So oil has been really strong, and I totally missed this trade here, and I'm actually pretty bummed about it. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for 8 years now. And, it's one of those things, you miss trades and it still hurts after all this time. It's not fun to miss trades. So I liked this idea, but I was away from the computer and I was, I did not set any sort of pending order or anything like that. And price hit my level and just narrowly came into that zone before shooting off that and continuing. So for me, how am I playing this? Well, there's nothing to do up here. I can't short it because I'm bullish on it, and I can't buy it because it's already made its move. I either have to wait for this thing to break back and hold, come down to this level again for a possible re-entry, or I need to see clean breaks through the highs and again repeat the process. But both cases require patience, but having that nice bullish bias from the EDGEFINDER has me very interested in oil from a distance, so I'm watching that one closely. In terms of other things on this list, you've got a couple things. USD CAD, we could take a quick look at that. Although USD CAD is kind of mixed. You have oil really strong right now, so I'm not really willing to bet against the CAD. So I might pass on dollar CAD. US 10-year, USD ZAR, let's skip those. SPX 500, let's pull this one up. So the S&P 500 is something that really took a beating this past week. So here's the S&P, and what you can see is it actually just got smoked. This is the other thing I mentioned in the beginning of the video, that there were two different things that were not playing out perfectly for me this past week. The first one, of course, was gold and the shorts that I took that didn't quite work out. The other was I actually sold some puts on the Dow Jones, which is of course the US 30, but I trade the ETF variation. So I sold puts on the Dow, not bought puts. That would be, of course, betting or pretty much shorting the market. I actually sold puts, which is kind of a bullish play. So obviously this sell-off in the S&P 500, which is of course heavily correlated to the Dow or US 30, not great for my puts that I sold. Regardless, that's kind of a different type strategy. If you're familiar with selling options for premium, it is something that I personally love to do, and anyways, that's another side of the trading that did not work out quite well for me. I sold puts. I think I'm back to break even despite being in a really nice profit at this point. Gave back a lot of those profits, but still holding on. When you sell an option, most of the time it becomes profitable as long as you're trading with a delta that's pretty out of the money, which is what I'm doing. So there's still a solid chance that we make money on that trade. But anyways, let's talk about the indices for a second. In terms of S&P 500, I'm really, I have not traded this thing in the traditional sense, long and short. I haven't traded it in a while. I've been on the sidelines with the NASDAQ. I've been on the sidelines with the S&P. And I've actually been really thankful that that is the case. I've missed out in some good ways this time, right? Sometimes you miss out on a great move. In this case, I've missed out on a lot of choppiness, which is I'm very happy to have missed out on. Several times this market has, shot to the downside, shot back up, shot down, shot up. So I'm glad to get out of this. You guys know, if you've been watching the channel for a while, I traded the NASDAQ quite a bit this year. It's been one of my biggest, actually it has been by far my biggest winning trading asset or chart is the NASDAQ on the long side this year. I've been very bullish on it. But I've kind of paused recently, and I've been, like I said, very glad that I have been out of the way of this thing. I'm waiting for the EDGEFINDER to give me a signal. And one of the coolest things about the EDGEFINDER is that I find that not always does it give me, of course, like, golden perfect setups all the time. There's no algorithm in the world that to my knowledge, that does that, right? However, sometimes the EDGEFINDER keeps me out of things that I shouldn't be trading in the first place. So you can see NASDAQ is not even on this list. It actually is on the list. You guys just can't see it because the EDGEFINDER's been filtered to show just the very bullish and very bearish stuff. But take a look at NASDAQ. Here it is. It's sneakily in here. There it is, NASDAQ, only getting a -1. Same thing if you take a look at the German 30, the UK 100, right? Indices are for the most part on the, they're on the boring side right now. And I'm happy that the EDGEFINDER has kept me out of those positions because they would have been almost certainly losers for me, or trades that haven't gone anywhere. So again, one of the cool things about the EDGEFINDER is it sometimes just keeps me out of trades that I really should just be avoiding. And that by itself is so important to me. So anyways, the indices, what I'd be interested in, breakouts higher, breakouts lower, probably be a pretty good start. Next week, we have a lot of stuff out of central banks. Not to mention, and definitely not least of to which, the Fed, right? We have the FOMC meeting on Wednesday, I do believe. Wednesday we have some important stuff coming out of the Fed, which will likely break us one way or the other. And then perhaps I'm back into business, right? Back into looking to trade these things once we get some decisive direction. But I'll be watching the indices. Again, that is where I trade the bulk of my trading size. That is what I trade the most of. That and gold are where I am personally most interested. So a little bit bummed that on the trading side for gold and indices, where I trade, again, the heaviest with sizing and such, because it is what I've back tested the most. It's what I'm most comfortable trading. I'm kind of on the sidelines this week so far, but on the currency side, we have some good setups that could actually be really interesting. Again, guys, if you want a copy of the EDGEFINDER, use the link down below in the description to get a subscriber discount just click that link down there. Check it out. Again, it's free to look at the page and just see if it would be a fit for you. And if you do decide, make sure to use that subscriber discount that is in the description. You can also join us in Discord, or you can join us in our Telegram channel. Everything is down below in the description. Guys, have a great week ahead. Trade safe, and we will see you back in the next video.